From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Well, hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. I am Keith Allen, and proudly welcoming you into this Wednesday's edition of For the People on November the 22nd, 2017. I have something that is called, I believe, turkey fever. Now, I need to probably share this with you, and I really do try to be transparent with you, but I am the quintessential chef. It's sort of like a quasi-male edition, and I have to preface that, of Julia Child's in the Kitchen. It's a diversion from doing the radio show. It's just something different. I actually enjoy cooking, but there's so many things that one can do with a turkey. But I'm going to do the traditional thing. It's going in the oven in a no-brainer so it doesn't dry out, because there's nothing worse than a dried-out turkey. Let's face it. I mean, people might tell you it was great, but you could just tell how they're gnawing at the turkey. You ever go into somebody's house and it's just, you don't want to hurt their feelings. Well, the bottom line is, I aim to please. So put it in the bag, okay? Let it cook in the bag. It's the best thing. Just don't overcook it. I have a dilemma here. My dilemma this Thanksgiving, and I wonder if you could help me. I know there's places that you can go on the internet, but if you have a favorite recipe, and I'm very serious about this, it has to do with deviled eggs. A friend of mine had sent me the pre-production, if you will, the prefab of the empty eggshells. What do you put in it? I mean, I understand that there's a filling. Is it just mustard? Is it mustard and mayonnaise? I mean, is that the ingredients? What's your favorite deviled egg recipe? I have to. I mean, I am drooling when I saw this picture. I'm like, okay, I just have to have some. Now, maybe it'd be easier to just call around and see if there's some store nearby to be able to just pick them up. But homemade is just homemade. So if you feel like you can trust me with your deviled egg recipe, then you can send it to forthepeopleshow.com and just click on the email and send me your recipe. And I'm serious. I will give you kudos on the air after the holidays. And speaking of that, tomorrow, if you're going to be listening to For the People, it's going to be a best of show. And believe me, we aim to please there as well. And Friday as well, doing 2 back-to-back best of shows. I hardly ever take any time off, but I just feel like, 2 days, we need to do it. I need to recoup after all that cooking and devil egg business. Now, Hillary Clinton, this is going to probably seem so bizarre to some of you, but I actually agree with her on something. Because I know Hillary Clinton actually is making sense on this particular item. And you're probably just dying to find out exactly what that is. Well, I'm not going to keep you in suspense much longer here. Other than to tell you that, Hillary Clinton, she's been on the book tour promoting her book on, what went wrong, what the problems were, which, in pontificating in her brilliant way. But she was on the Hugh Hewitt show. I used to work for Salem Communications, did a talk show for many years in the Tampa Bay area for them, and worked for SRN News. Great company to work for. I had a great experience. But on the Hugh Hewitt show, she unloaded. And this was I would say, somewhat of a rare interview. But she said in a new interview with Hewitt, the inability to run on an agenda of change coming off of President Barack Obama's 2 terms was a significant problem of her 2016 campaign. And I thought to myself, Oh, my goodness, you are brilliant. I mean, you, lady, you said it all. 8 years of miserable failure after failure of healthcare and Benghazi and the economy and rights for this group and rights for that group and just the things that Obama did and she did. Yeah, she didn't tell the whole truth here because she didn't put any blame on herself. She shifts blame. That's easy. It's easy for the left to shift the blame, play the blame game. She likes to do that. She can't take any responsibility. But now she is solely blaming Obama for a man who ran on hope and change. Hope and change. That's what you're going to get. I heard somebody tell me about the hope and change thing, and this, it's a little old. You probably heard it. The only change the people got was a change in their pockets. Yeah. That's the change. But it was interesting, okay? Did you learn something about Hillary Clinton blaming Obama? It took this long out with a little now over a year, not much more, year, 3 weeks? With Donald Trump in the White House, becoming our next president. He took office in January. So anyway, she goes on. She says, it is true that when you run to succeed a 2-term president of your own party, you have a historical headwind blowing against you, Clinton told radio host Hugh Hewitt. It's not just this campaign can be set apart from everything that's ever happened in our politics. It is a challenge. And if you are both the candidate defending a lot of areas of agreement, but also putting forth an agenda for change, which is what I try to do, is often difficult to get the second part of the message through, she added. So I do think it was a problem. Did you get all that? She is good. Just like Obama could take a speech that you could give in 20 minutes and stretch it out to be, about an hour long. That's why they're in the business they're in, is that they know how to use proper timing, words. But Obama, he was clever. Oh yeah, he was clever. But I'll give him credit. He never really hid his agenda. Unlike some other presidents that we've had, he was very clear that he diametrically wanted to change everything there was about America. He wanted it to be completely different. He wanted it to be Obama's land. He wanted to change the dynamics up in socio-economic and allow a third race to be born, gender. We'll be talking about that. That's in the news again. On top of the barrage of all these sexual allegations. Just so much of that going on. I mean, it's like hit after hit. Sex this, and he molested that, and I gotta just take a little pause, if you don't mind, and not for a commercial break. I just have to kind of clear my mind here. And if you'll allow me to do that, I would appreciate it. The Roy Moore stuff, I know, aggravates the hell out of a lot of people. And they believe that Roy Moore is a good man, was a good judge. And even if he did those things, that was a long, long time ago. Even Donald Trump has said it. So why are we bringing it up now? Well, that should be obvious. If you're trying to beat somebody up politically, you will dig. You will try to find. It's salacious. It makes people think. How many women do you think were turned off when they heard the audio from NBC about Donald Trump and then Billy Bush? Remember that? That did not go down the hatch too well for too many people. They didn't like it. They didn't like it one bit. And you and I know it. Now, it did happen a long time, so a lot of people are asking the question, if these things did happen, and Michelle Malcolm, she was on television this morning, and she said this very thing. She's a woman. Obviously, Michelle Malcolm, I mean, it could be a man, but she's a woman. She's a conservative. She's a columnist. And she just said that very thing. In other words, why late? And she said it. Why aren't you just coming out with it now? Why did you have to wait 25, 30 years? Why? He's an old man now. He's sitting on he's the judge, and now he wants to become a senator. And I mean, why are you coming out of the woodwork now? It's suspicious, isn't it? It kind of makes you scratch your head. It's politically motivated. Well, again, that's a no-brainer. We get emails all the time, and the one thing that I really work hard at here at For the People is to be honest with you on how I feel about particular issues, and I realize that not everybody that listens to the broadcast has the same view. I consider myself to be a moderate Republican. Some people say, you're a flaming liberal. You sound like a liberal. Well, maybe some days I do. And it's this that I will caution you. I went to a boarding school in Mendham, New Jersey. Very posh place in New Jersey, okay? In the 80s. It was called Chartwell Manor. You can look it up. We had a headmaster. His name was Michael Lynch. And Michael Lynch liked little boys. He actually liked to play with genitalia when he gave spankings and a whole lot more. Well, during a spanking episode, I've said this probably over a year ago. I talked about it, so some people say, oh my God, I can't believe you're saying it. Did he grab your winky? Well, he did. Now, I told my parents about it. Now, you know I wasn't crazy about the schools. They thought I was making it up. And, you know, I told my dad, I said, I'm not making it up. This guy literally does these things. And he says, well, I'm going to talk to him about it. Of course, he did. And he denied it. My dad said, look, I know you don't like the school, but that's a hell of a thing to say about somebody. I love you, son. Well, anyways, years later, this guy was called on the carpet for all of it. He got prosecuted, did some jail time, got fined, and anyways, you can look him up. But anyway, he had his way with thousands through the years. I wasn't going to have any part of whatever else he did outside of there, or I gave him problems the whole time. So we didn't get along very, very well. But there was other boys, unfortunately, that succumbed to that. And not all the kids obviously came out and told their parents about it because a lot of the kids weren't so crazy about being there either. Now, there was a lot of good things about the school, but, you know, the guy showered with the kids. Yeah. And skinny dipped with the kids. Disgusting. My thought is that things do go on, and not everybody does it because it's embarrassing to talk about. People don't want to talk about these things, and they're afraid. And rightly so. There's some pretty nasty things that happen when you're in politics and high up, especially a judge. And you know people. People don't say anything. And now that's why I think that there is the climate now where people can come out. Now, I said it yesterday, and I'll continue saying it. If there's false accusations, now they can't be substantiated, and there is investigation, and it finds out that any of these people that have come forward with anybody, they should be prosecuted the fullest extent of the law. Now, I just don't I don't see how they'll be able to, he said, she said, how to put that all together. I really don't know. But Michelle Malcolm said, look, from now on, moving forward, if anything happens to you in the workplace, report it immediately. It's not worth the job. That's what she said. So then, you know, devil's advocate, you say, well, then do you just let everything else ride? In other words, okay, today's a new day, and if it does happen again, then I will say something, but all the other stuff doesn't matter. I mean, you see where I'm coming from. It's from that perspective.